John Calipari is leaving Kentucky for a contract for so much money, right? He had a lifetime contract, and he's leaving for less money. What? I'm just going to put it like this. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? And especially go to Arkansas when I think Kentucky, if you look at the numbers, Kentucky already has way more championships.
Okay.
And they're right in there with royalty with UCLA, Kentucky, Connecticut, North Carolina. UCLA with 11, Kentucky with 8, Connecticut with 6, North Carolina with 6. Why are you going to Arkansas when you can just start a new season with Kentucky?
All right, so my feelings on this is this. Obviously, he hasn't had championship success like you may think he would with all the guys that have been through that program. Granted, he only gets the guys for 3 months and they're gone. They're all the one-and-done guys come to Kentucky. And they come to Kentucky for Coach Cal. Let's not get it twisted. You know, as soon as he leaves, watch. I would be very stunned to see if they have a monster year. It almost reminds me of Jay Wright at Villanova. So guys were coming to play at Villanova to play with Coach Wright. He leaves. They're not even in the tournament anymore, right? So think about stuff like that. His contract now, it says he had a lifetime contract to Kentucky. It was a 10-year, $86 million deal, which is a monster deal.
Yeah.
But it's not really a lifetime deal. They just expected that would be the end of his coaching career, and he would leave.
Right.
He's going to Arkansas for what's rumored to be about $8 million. He was making $8.5 at Kentucky. So it's not a huge drop-off, and he's got incentives that would give him the opportunity to kind of pass that if he does everything right. So he's got a chance to make money. He's going to get a ton of NIL backing at Arkansas. And I've actually even heard that Jerry Jones, Cowboys owner, who's an Arkansas alum, a lot of his donations has gone to kind of bringing him in, and he's going to be compensated fine. He's going to bring 5-star recruits with him like he's done everywhere.
But people are comparing him to his last name, like we were talking about earlier. And I was just joking.
Go ahead.
Like a mafia boss in a way. When he went to UMass, a lot of these kids academically couldn't play.
Sure.
When he went to Memphis, Derrick Rose was academically uneligible to play.
For sure.
Right? And they still played. He gets away with a lot of stuff, dude. He gets away with a lot of Marcus Camby, right here it says, accepted large sums of cash and services, not the least administrations of a prostitute from a couple of scallywag agents.
But look,
was this written in the 1950s?
If we start blackballing coaches who do bad things to get guys on campus, we're not going to have any good coaches anymore. You watch a guy like Rick Pitino, who's happened at multiple places, and he gets new jobs, right? It's happened to Bill Self at Kansas. It's happened to Bruce Pearl and Jim Calhoun, these legendary coaches who have had issues. Like, it sucks to say, but I've been on recruiting trips. How do you think they get you there?
Yeah, of course.
They get hot girls, and they give you things that you probably shouldn't be able to get. And the thing is, now it's all legal.
Yeah,
and now it's all legal.
Daniel, can you pull up his recruiting tape, please? Can you pull up Calipari's recruiting tape? Ray, I want your take on this.
What do you mean recruiting tape?
You'll see. This is his recruiting tape.
I didn't want
to show this, but this happens all the time. This is recruiting tape.
I know what's happened also in recruiting trips.
Oh, I'm sure.
College as well as the pros. I know agents.
I know
NFL agents getting college people to sign with them.
Wrestlers
I know where they take them. It's crazy.
Course. And it's like, but to think that Calipari's the only guy doing it is bananas.
Yeah, no,
he just happens to win.
This. Exactly.
Wrestlers go through the same thing, sort of recruiting?
Yeah.
It depends
we
on the program.
had a wrestler get transported to the hospital because our coach was like, show him a good time. And then all of a sudden our coach went up to our dorm and was like, what are you fucking guys crazy? You guys are supposed to be bringing them to the hospital.
If you just think about the guys who have come while Daniel brings that up, just think in 5 seconds. D. Rose, Devin Booker, Julius Randle, John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, AD.
Yeah.
The list doesn't end. And they're not going there for any reason other than Coach Cal, because when he's gone, the program goes down.
Obviously, yeah. Can you play that, Daniel? Here's his recruiting tape. Can you turn it up?
Hey, tell me one time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let yourself
do a
get
good
attached
dinero.
to anything you are not willing to walk out on in 30 seconds.
Oh, we have no volume on this?
Ugh.
Play it again. I don't care.
Guy told me one time.
There he is.
This is John Calipari's recruiting tape. People
Don't let
play this for
yourself
the
get
players.
attached to anything you are not willing to walk out on in
This
30
is for
seconds
heat.
flat if you feel the heat around the corner. Now, if you're on me and you got to move when I move, how do you expect
This
to
is
keep
Heat, the movie, right? From Heat.
a marriage?
Yeah, it's going to get copyrighted. That's my goal.
Yeah,
That's
Pacino.
an interesting point.
Look how young he is. Yeah, he played that sometimes. And they were like, what does that mean? He's like, you know what it means. And then they would have practice.
Oh.
Weird, right? I don't know. So that's why I say he's like the mafia. He's like a mafia coach. He's like the mafia don.
He's
basically.
old school.
I don't know, man. Him leaving for less money and then he's going to Arkansas for a smaller contract just smells like the guy was in some serious heat and he had to get out.
He was also getting
No pun
heated up
intended.
by the fans on social media, like incredulously, because they expect him to win a championship every year, which comes with being one of the top programs in the country and comes with being one of the top coaches. But maybe it was just time for a change of scenery. He's not leaving for a ton less money. It sucks to say. Like, I mean, for us, $500,000's a huge deal, but for Coach Cal, $500,000 is nothing right now, and he's got the chance to make it back. So I don't think the contract status is.
Do you think they strong-armed him to get him out?
No,
Kentucky?
no.
You don't think so? Really?
I don't.
Because nobody walks away from a better contract at a better school.
It's not, but
if they're
you say a
strong-armed.
better contract, but it's $500,000 with if he wins, he's going to make more than he made last year, and he's going to get, like we said, he's going to get recruits anywhere he goes. He's
What do
going
you
to be
think,
fine.
Daniel? What's your take?
I gotta say, when my cousin was getting traded from the
Shout out to Alex
Blackhawks-
DeBrincat.
Yep, he chose the Detroit Red Wings because he was born and raised there, and all of his family's there, as opposed to New Jersey. I think they were going to pay him, if not $500,000 more, I think they were going to pay him like $1 million or $2 more. But he decided to go with the Wings because that was his home team. So maybe this guy, he likes Arkansas's grassy fields or something.
Also,
Yeah.
also Arkansas doesn't have that pedigree where they're expected to light the country up every year. You know what I mean? Like Kentucky, you go in there with the understanding that if you're like the Yankees, if you don't win, you're on the hot seat. At Arkansas, he goes in there and look, maybe he can get away with a year where he wins the conference championship but goes out in the round of 32, and they'll give him a little little freedom.
You know what I thought was interesting too is they showed the video of Calipari being introduced. By the way, their pyrotechnics were awesome. Their pyrotechnics were incredible. He's walking out through the tunnel. The pyrotechnics are going nuts.
Jerry Jones money.
And then guess what? They all stand up and give the booster that got him there a standing ovation. I was like, that's where we're at, dude. That's where we're at. It's not about players. It's not about coaches. It's about fucking Steve Phillips in the
Jones.
audience. You know what I mean? Getting that guy with some cash into the stadium.
Well, that's the thing. And it's NIL has made all these things that seemed taboo to us like 10 years ago. They're like normal now. Like there's an NIL budget. That's a big thing that brought him over too. His NIL budget here is going to be monstrous. So you use that, you get yourself recruits, and you build a roster.
Hey, can you play the Daniel? Can you play the Rachel Nichols and DeMarcus Cousins talking about this? Because I thought this is really interesting. Because DeMarcus Cousins obviously played with him at Memphis
For sure.
So I want to see, because I think his take is really interesting, and also Rachel Nichols, who was great for ESPN, has a really good take on this as well. Can you turn it up,
I think
please?
everybody's going to get a real taste of reality moving forward.
Amen.
We've seen this movie before with Kyle. Where he goes becomes the hot spot.
There you
I
go.
put Kyle
Beautiful.
and Deion Sanders in the same category.
Yeah,
Deion has
Deion's-
the
he-
prime
Deion will be
effect.
gone, by the
It's
way, in a
same
couple
thing
years.
with Calipari. Arkansas
agree.
will now be the hot spot.
Thank you.
Arkansas will now have the #1 recruiting classes coming in every single year.
Beautifully said.
Arkansas will be full of celebrities. Good luck finding a replacement for Cal because it's going to be very, very hard. Dan Hurley's not going. Jay Wright is living his best
There you go.
life.
That's the other guy who reminded me of Jay
Even
Wright.
more
Villanova.
money. He's not leaving. I also saw something about Brad Stevens.
Brad
You're out
Stevens ain't
your
going
mind if
nowhere.
you think
No,
he's leaving
he's a
this.
beautiful office
And then
job
I
with the
saw something about
Celtics.
Billy Donovan. It's going to be hard to convince any coach that has been to the ultimate level to then take a step down to go to the collegiate level. And it's not the collegiate level of old. This is a brand new monster. To think that it's going to be a line around the door of coaches that want to not only coach at this level, and it's 10 times the amount of work. You now have to meet this standard of
There you
being
go.
a championship
Perfect.
team every single year. What we experienced in those 15 years of
All right, you can cut
we
it.
will never
So
experience again.
what I was thinking too is why won't Rick Pitino? Because now Kentucky has a vacant spot. Well, you think Rick Pitino would go back home?
No, he is home now. He's in New York City with St. John's, and
Yeah.
he just locked in.
But I'm saying where he won
their team
championships.
is. No, he's good where he's at, man. He just locked into a huge deal. He plays at the Garden every night. He's got an ascending St. John's roster that won 20 games this year in the Big East. Now I think he's good where he's at, and he's had no reason to move. Like I think if you would have tried to get him when he was coming off being down, you might have been able to get him for like a discount price, and he would have said yes. But now he's fallen into a nice little situation
Yeah.
in New York.